to my car. A lot of these black guys today, these gangster type guys, they all got names like that they make up for themselves.
Is that true?
Sure. He means like the rappers. You know, the rappers, they all got names like that. Snoop Doggy Dogg, Ice Cube, Q-Tip, Method Man.
I don't know anything about that. But it makes me think about Indians.
You know, I think you're not supposed to say Indian either.
No way, really?
Yeah. I think you're supposed to call them African Americans. African Americans.
African Americans?
It comes as a great shock to discover that Gary Cooper killing off the Indians when you were rooting for Gary Cooper, that the Indians were you.
Use a real naga, throw a feather up. Tribe up, my naga, put your bows and arrows up. The stronghold of the naga ain't scared of us. They try to dumb my naga down, but we leveled up. Yeah. Strictly for my nagas.
Africa. I remember when they were marching, people started screaming in the suburbs, back to Africa with them, back to Africa with who? Shit, I ain't never been out. Big dummy. Don't send me home, send me to St. Louis, Missouri. 4461 Enright, top floor. Africa, what the hell I look like? Standing in the jungle with a $750 mohair suit and some alligator shoes. Big dummy. That's not hunting dog. I'm here all the way.
Great day. Welcome to the House of Masculinity. I'm Black Jay. It's Saturday, May 6, 2023. Shalom, Shabbat. Shalom. No hijack, no third eye mind trick. Salute. Subscribe button, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel, share the video. If you want to support monetarily, we got the Cash App at the top of the screen. Cash.app/$. House of Masculinity. You can also hit us up on that super chat. Let your voice be heard. Go on down and get you a membership. My Naga starting as low as $2.99. You can get access to the members only live stream, like the Soul of Naga Charlie. We're gonna do the Soul of Naga Charlie part 3 tonight. We usually do it on Fridays, but we had a little technical difficulties last night, so we didn't do no stream last night. So we're gonna do that members only stream tonight at 9:30. The Soul of Naga Charlie part 3. If you saw part 1 and part 2, you know it was lit. So go on and get your membership now, so you'll make sure you're on deck for the Soul of Naga Charlie part 3. Salute. We got a good conversation lined up for today's show. We talking to the indigenous people of Florida, also known as Floridians. You know what I'm saying? La Florida. You know what I'm saying? Also known as
Au bon sauvage. Au négré l'Amérique.
Also known as.
Et l'Amérique négrée.
Also known as.
Negre.
Salute.
You big dummy.
Biatch.
Yeah, we just talking Floridians, the indigenous peoples of Florida. You know, the Nagas. You know, they call them African Americans now, aka the blacks, the real American Indians. You know, the indigenous people of Florida. So we're talking like the Guale, the Seminoles, the Timucua. You know what I'm talking about? The real indigenous peoples of La Florida. We're gonna get into it, y'all. We're gonna get into it. And that's the title of the show today. But we're gonna start off in the intro, breaking it down with an article about my hometown, Jacksonville, Florida. Salute. You know we're in the stronghold of the Naga. You know what I'm saying? The stronghold of the colored race. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? You digging me? Do you understand? Are we having a failure to communicate? Yeah, we just talking about the Islamic.
Et l'Amérique négrée.
Hey, I've been posting them dolls, them black American Indian dolls, them vintage dolls. You know what I'm saying? I done ordered a couple. I ordered about 4 of them. I had to get off the site, man. I was about to order all of them.
You big dummy.
But hey, I figured they collector's items, and in the long run, they'll be worth something. You know, generational wealth. You feel me? Y'all hit that like button, subscribe. Share the video. Like I said, you know what I'm saying, go and get that membership so you'll be on deck tonight at 9:30 for the Soul of Naga Charlie Part 3. It's gonna be lit, my Naga. It's gonna be lit. Members only. Hey, let's dig into it. We talking about Floridians. We talking about the indigenous peoples of Florida. What they look like, my Naga, they look like you. So
You big dummy.
let's dig right on in. And right now, I'm on the Jackson. The Jackson, Jacksonville, Florida, my hometown. You know what I'm saying? This website, thejacksonmag.com. 6 lost towns within Jacksonville's borders. Right here in my hometown, 6 lost towns. If you're from Jacksonville, Florida, if you ever been to Jacksonville, Florida, Managa, did you know it was 6 lost towns right in the borders of Jacksonville, Managa? Jacksonville is a big city. I think land-wise supposed to be the biggest, you know what I'm saying, in the nation. You know what I'm saying, as far as land go. But yeah, 6 lost towns within Jacksonville, Florida's borders. Let's talk about them. Some of the neighborhoods that now make up intrinsic parts of Jacksonville were once incorporated towns in their own right. Here are the stories of 6 lost towns within the Jacksonville city limits. This was published May 1st, 2023 by Bill Delaney and Enos Davis. You know what I'm saying? They're showing the map of Jacksonville, Florida. Salute. Salute to the home team. Stronghold of the Naga. And they start off with the map. Then they showing the map showing the general location of 6 lost towns within Jacksonville borders. Then they got Mandarin, 1841 to question mark. Now Mandarin is still a neighborhood. You know, it's not its own town. It's more of a neighborhood in Jacksonville, Florida. You know, I do a lot of work over in the Mandarin area. But let's read about the ancient history of Mandarin that you might not have known, Managa. Located 15 miles south of downtown Jacksonville on the east bank of the St. Johns River, what's now called Mandarin, was initially settled at St. Anthony in 1765 during Florida's British period. In the 18th and 19th centuries, it was the site of plantations worked by enslaved Guale Geechee people, not Gula Geechee, Guale, the Guale Indians, Managa Guale. Keep that in mind. Remember that. I'm gonna stop this right now. Remember that. They started right off talking about 1765 and some enslaved Guale people. Before we went anywhere else, they cannot separate the Naga and the Indian as one and the same. Managa, I keep telling you this. It had its own post office. Plantations worked by Guale Indians, not Africans. These plantations were worked by enslaved Guale Indians, who we know later became Yamasee, who we know later became Seminole. We dig on real history over here. We're talking the 18th and 19th centuries. That's the 17 and 1800s to be exact. Postmaster and plantation owner Calvin Reed renamed the small but growing frontier community after the Mandarin orange, a key local crop. Yeah, they done robbed the Naga all our crops. Yeah, I got oranges growing in my yard right now. In 1830. In 1841, amid the Second Seminole War, residents incorporated Mandarin as a town. That December, Seminole forces attacked Mandarin, killing 4 white settlers. Salute.
You big dummy. Now who's you, nigga?
They killed a couple settlers, Managa. Hit that like, Managa.
Word, and this shit is
Tribe
over.
up.
And I ain't playing, nigga.
They killed 4, the Guale, right on top, killed 4 white settlers. They said, y'all gotta get out of here. You don't belong. Go back to Eurasia. Salute.
You big dummy.
Let's proceed. They killed 4 white settlers. Mandarin status as an independent town appeared to have disappeared by the time of the Civil War, during which Union troops liberated the enslaved and confiscated crops. Oh, so you let the Guale Indians loose, but then you took the crops, Managa. The government, the Union troops, you took the crop, you took our crops though, Managa. We need our farms back, Managa. I need my granddaddy farm, Managa. During the Reconstruction era, after the war, Mandarin emerged as a destination for Guale, not Gula, Guale Geechee, and white farmers, and flourished into so if it said Guale Indians and white farmers, what did the Guale look like?
You big dummy.
They apparently wasn't white, Managa. What they had to be, Managa. Salute. If the Guale wasn't white, Managa, what they had to be, Managa. Salute. Read between the lines. Don't go through no third eye mind tricks. Yeah, destination for guale and white farmers, and flourished into a major exporter of citrus. They were selling oranges left and right. They were selling them all out the town. The town became the winter home of author and abolitionist Perry Beecher Stowe, who founded a church and integrated school. She had an integrated school. She said, go and let the Nagas go to school with the whites. Mandarin remained largely rural until the 1960s, when suburbanization transformed the area into the residential community familiar today. Along with the rest of the unincorporated Duval County. Salute to all my Duval! All my Duval niggas, salute. Shalom. Teaching 777 in the house. Along with the rest of the unincorporated Duval County, Mandarin became part of Jacksonville in the 1968 consolidation. La Villa, 1869. La Villa, that's right around the corner, my nigga. La Villa, that's my daddy's old neighborhood. La Villa, 1869 to 1887. Jacksonville's oldest suburb, Oldest, my nigga, the ancient, my nigga. My daddy from there, my nigga, and my granddaddy, my nigga. The villa traces its roots to 1866 during the Reconstruction era. The area had been slave plantation. Slave plantation. Or who? The Guale, the Seminoles. Slave plantation land since 1802. Its name derived from the La Villa Plantation, established in 1851. The La Villa Plantation, We might have to do a whole show on the La Villa Plantation, my nigga. During the Civil War, it was occupied several times by Union forces, including members of the U.S. Colored Troops. After the war, the land immediately west of Jacksonville was divided into plots for Guale, Geechee, freemen, and women, many of them veterans. They fought in the war. These Indians, these Guale Indians, they fought all in the war. The Guale Indians, my nigga, was all up in the war. The villa grew rapidly and incorporated as a city in 1869. The town's population was largely Guale, not African American. That is a lie.
You big dummy.
Biatch.
Now who's you, nigga?
We just read who it was. It was Guales. You want to call them African American because the Guale was black? Because the Guale looked like this? You want to call them African? Last time I checked, Negro or black didn't mean African. Negro and black is universal, you big dummy.
You big dummy.
So all this African American hijack, the words didn't even exist at the time. Stop trying to lead us somewhere that don't exist, my nigga. That didn't even exist in 1869. That ain't exist till 100 years later. Talking African Americans. No, these was Guale Indians. With a sizable white minority. Salute.
You big dummy.
Biatch.
Sit your $5 ass down before I make change.
The villa also became a hub for immigrants to Jacksonville, ultimately serving as home to members of the city's Arab, Cuban, Chinese, Eastern European, Jewish, Greek and Italian communities. None of those people live around here now. I live in bicycle distance of La Villa. You know what's around here? You know what's around here in La Villa right now?
Comes the great shock to discover that.
You know what's around here in La Villa right now?
Au bon sauvage. Au Négré l'Amérique.
To the tone about 99%, my nigga. The Guale never went anywhere. Stronghold of the Naga, salute.
You big dummy.
Talking about Arabs and Cuban, Chinese, Eastern. Where they at? We got about 1 or 2 Chinese people around here, and they work in the stove. And when sun go down, their ass is gone. They get the hell out of Dodge. In 1887, the booming town voted to be annexed into Jacksonville, along with the town of Fairfield. More on that in a minute. And several unincorporated neighborhoods. Growth continued in La Villa with the arrival of Henry Flagler's Railroad, and La Villa became an epicenter of black culture. It always was the epicenter of the Naga. La Villa, we was our own thing. Then you came here with your little Jacksonville shit, and you decided to incorporate the Naga on our own land. Until your little settlement, into your little colonization thing. You and our stronghold. Talking about it, Jacksonville. Nah, La Villa, my nigga. Yeah. And La Villa became an epicenter. La Villa faced a decline in the later 20th century, and a failure urban renewal project in the early 1990s led to the destruction of most of its buildings today. There's a renewed interest in preserving what's left of La Villa's history and building on it to once again create a thriving urban neighborhood. Man, the urban Indian, you know, the wild Indian, yeah, they called you all that, Gwale Naga, they calling you an African American now. They calling you an African American now, Managa. Your ancestors was Gwale Indians, you living all on Kings Road and shit, all on Murder Avenue and shit, talking about you a Pan-African, talking about you about to booty shake your way on, cross over there to Ghana or something. Naga, is you serious?
You big dummy.
Fairfield, 1882 to 1887. Prior to the Civil War, the area east of Jacksonville, the east side, out east, my naga. Out east, salute all my nagas out east, stronghold of the nagas.
Big
salute.
dummy.
Out east, my naga. Yeah, my granny lived out east. I lived out east a while myself. Prior to the Civil War, before the Civil War, the area east of Jacksonville and Hogan's Creek was a sparsely populated place littered with sawmills along the St. John River. Yeah, sparsely populated. I bet y'all know who was there, the Naga. What would become known as Fairfield materialized in 1868 with the arrival of Jacob S. Parker, a New Yorker who acquired over 150 riverfront acres. He acquired it. What, he took it? He ain't buy it. He ain't purchased 150 of the Naga acres. He took 150 riverfront acres. He took it, he acquired it. To promote development, Parker worked to get a road built between Jacksonville and the suburb of Panama Park with a path that would penetrate his property. Now known as Talleyrand Avenue, the East End Shell Road opened as a toll facility in 1873, becoming one of the first paved roads in the region. With an adequate connection to Jacksonville and Panama Park, that same year Parker attracted developers to open the Roseland Hotel along the riverfront at present-day Clarkson Street. The three-story hotel quickly became of the area's most popular destinations during the Gilded Age, as Jacksonville became a major winter destination for the rich and famous. In 1876, fairgrounds were established on the northernmost portion of Parker's property, with Parker serving as the manager of the first Florida State Fair. Featuring an oval track for horse racing, it transformed the growing suburb into the region's most important sports and entertainment district. In 1882, the community was incorporated as a town, with Parker being elected as its first mayor. Due to the fair's popularity, the surrounding community became known as the town of Fairfield. Fairfield didn't remain an independent city for long. In 1887, its 543 residents were annexed into the city of Jacksonville. South Jacksonville, 1907 to 1932. The neighborhood known as San Marco, yeah, not far from where I live, San Marco, was once an independent city named South Jacksonville. Settled on this part of the river dates back to 1760, when the British colonial government colonizers established a ferry landing at the Calford to serve the colonial Kings Road. Over the next century, the colonial king, Kings Road, the colonial kings, all you Nagas on Kings Road. Over the next century, the surrounding land was the site of slave plantations. Salute.
You big
Who, the
dummy.
Gwale Indians, who you was enslaving? The Nagas, the Gwale Nagas, the native Nagas, the aboriginal Nagas that you calling African Americans now, that you lying about their identity, you knowing damn well they aboriginal Americans, falsely labeled African Americans. These blacks are the indigenous American Indian. Yeah. Talking slave plantations, which were broken up and redeveloped after the Civil War. Settlements named South Jacksonville, Oklahoma, and Alexandria grew together into a single community that became known as South Jacksonville. South Jacksonville prospered as a suburb of Jacksonville, especially after the Florida East Coast Railway Bridge connected the North Bank and South Bank in 1890. By 1907, South Jacksonville was home to 600 residents, but despite its growth, it still lacked basic amenities like street lights, sidewalks, and paved roadways. Now, this is 1907 now. This ain't nothing but 100 and something. It ain't nothing but about 3 generations ago, my naga. We talking about great grandparents. The citizens voted to incorporate as a city, and the small government center developed on Hendricks Avenue, including the city hall, power plant, ice plant, and railroad station. The first 3 of those structures survive today as the San Marco Preservation Society headquarters, the Napolera Restaurant, and Ardwood Brewing Company. Salute. Let's dig some more. In 1925, South Jacksonville saw its biggest new development yet, as Tellfell Stockton transformed the former Count Gamble and Stockton Brickyard into an 80-acre residential development that he named San Marco. To support the development, Stockton established San Marco Square, built San Marco Boulevard, and turned the old Brickyard clay pit into Marco Lake. In 1932, a measure to annex South Jacksonville into Jacksonville was approved by voters in both cities. In an interesting twist of toponymy, Tellfell Stockton's San Marco development had such cachet that the name San Marco came to be applied to most of the former town, while South Jacksonville, the south side, spread to a much wider area south and east of the St. Johns. Today, the Lost City remains one of Jacksonville's most popular urban neighborhoods. Mayport, 1909 to 1917. Mayport is a small fishing community in the Jacksonville beaches, north of the incorporated towns of Atlantic Beach, Neptune Beach, and Jacksonville Beach. Like the others, Mayport also had an experiment with self-governance in the early 20th century, albeit briefly. Situated at the mouth of the St. Johns River, this has been a strategic area for thousands of years. The community, originally known as Hazard, initially grew in the early 19th century as a colony of fishermen and bar pilots whose services were needed to guide ships through the shifting sandbars that then blocked the river mouth. Early settlers came from Minorca, Portugal, and France, France, Monaga, All on Savage Clock, Monaga. Who was they enslaving Monaga? It was enslaving you, Monaga. Yeah. Let's proceed. In 1841, the village was platted as Mayport Mills with an economy based on fishing and lumber. In the 1880s, the construction of the Mayport jetties and a railroad connection to South Jacksonville made the community more accessible, and it developed into a resort destination. Mayport's growth led citizens to incorporate a city government. The Florida legislature approved an incorporation in 1909. Its fortunes as an independent town would be short-lived. However, as Mayport was largely destroyed in a devastating fire in 1917, though it no longer had a local government, Mayport persisted as a small but substantial fishing and shrimping community. Its reputation as a shrimping hub has led to the phrase Mayport shrimp becoming a byword for fresh local shrimp. In 1940, Mayport transformed forever as much of the area became part of Naval Station Mayport. In 1968, Mayport joined the rest of unincorporated Duval County and consolidating with the city of Jacksonville, though it retains much of its historic character as a quiet coastal fishing village. Yeah, salute to the Mayport Naga, salute. Murray Hills, 1916 to 1925. That's right up the damn street. That's a walking distance, my Naga. An attractive destination for workers employed at the Seaboard Airline Railways locomotive shops near Macduff Avenue. The town of Murray Hill was incorporated in 1916. Hugh Lauder served as the first mayor of the town, bounded by Fishweir Creek, Lenox Avenue, Gilmore, Nelson, and Kingsbury Streets. During the town's formative years, a streetcar connection between Edgewood Avenue and downtown fueled development and growth. Another anchor, the Florida's Military Academy, prospered during World War I. The initial fanfare of Murray Hill being its own incorporated community didn't last long. Within a decade after electing Lauder, the young city fell into $300,000 in debt and became known as Murray's Bottom. Murray Hill's residents desired annexation into neighboring Jacksonville. At the time, Jacksonville had its problems as well. Long known as the largest city in Florida, Tampa had just surpassed it in population. Adding Murray Hill's residents would be just enough for Jacksonville to one-up Central Florida's largest city. In 1925, the town of Murray Hill was absorbed into the city of Jacksonville. So this is the history on Jacksonville, my hometown. And you know, they started right out talking Nagas, Quale Negroes, Quale Indians. Remember, they started right off. We just talking Jacksonville. They started right off talking, enslaved, they say Gula, we know that's the Gwale. They say enslaved Gula, right? Gula Geechee people. Enslaved Gula Geechee. No, enslaved Gwale. Gwale Managa. Indigenous peoples of Florida. Managa, we talking the Gwale. The indigenous peoples of Florida lived in what is now known as Florida for more than 12,000 years before the time of first contact with Europeans. However, the indigenous Floridians living east of the Appalachian River had largely died out in the 1700s. They talking in the 18th century. That's a lie. They just said they was enslaving the Gwale. Some Appalachians migrated to Louisiana, where their descendants now live. Some were taken to Cuba and Mexico by the Spanish in the 18th century, and a few may have been absorbed into the Seminole and Muskogee tribes, okay? Like the Gwale, Paleo Indians, the first people to arrive in Florida before the extinction of the Pleistocene megafauna. Human remain. Alright, all this, I don't get too far in all this stuff because they just, a lot of this is they playing their mind tricks. We're gonna skip all that Pilocene and stuff. Yeah, it's alright. But stone tools, all these distractions. No, let's talk about who y'all found there. I don't want to hear about all this other stuff. Who y'all found there when y'all got there? Gwale. We know who it is. Indigenous people encountered by Europeans. Here we go. This section includes the names of tribes, chieftains, and towns encountered by Europeans in what is now the state of Florida and adjacent parts of Alabama and Georgia. Salute to all my Alabama and my Georgia Naga. Salute. Tribe up my Naga. In the 16th and 17th centuries, in the 15 and 1600s, the Ice people, they look at that. You don't never hear the fake ass $5 Cherokee pretendians talking about these tribes because it wasn't them, it was the Naga. They lived along the Indian River Lagoon in the 17th century and maintained contact with the Spanish in St. Augustine. The Alafay, Ilafay, Costa, Alafala, Alafaya, Alafayas, Costas, closely related to a part of Pahoy, the Amacano. When first reported by the Spanish in the 1620s, they lived along the Big Bend coast of Florida. So we talking the real tribes, y'all. These are tribes you don't hear of. You always hear about that fake ass $5 Cherokee tribe, though. They love to throw that up in your face. They love to throw their fake civilized tribes up at you. You had the Nagas. West from the mouth of the Swanee River along the coast of the Appalachian Bay and spoke the same language as the Chitato, the Chine, and the Kapara, the Amacano, Americano, Ama. Battle with the Pahoys of Tampa Bay in the 1620s, with the Spanish brokering a peace between the two peoples in 1628 or 1629. The Amacano requested a missionary when missions were first established in Appalachian Province in 1633. A mission may have been established among the Amacano at that time, but there is no certain record of it. Of course they establishing their missions. The Apalachicola, my Nagas. Shout out to all my Nagas in the Apalachicola. All my Apalachicola Nagas. The Temucas, right? The Temucas. Who else? Where the Gwale at? The Appalachia, the Boca Ratones. Look at that. All these indigenous names, these places in my state, my Naga, and they want you to think that these is European words. Known only from records of the 1743 mission attempt on Biscayne Bay, the Boca Ratones, the Bonto or the Bonito, the Bonto Bonito, known only from the middle. Look at that of the 18th century. The Calusa tribe, Managa. Okay, we're talking Calusa. Salute. The Copperheads, the Chitat, the Chipola, the China, the Chisca, the Costas, the Guacata, the Guazuco, the Gwale, right? The Gwale, right? Originally living along the central Georgia coast, the survivors of the raids by the English colonists and their Indian allies moved from Georgia into Florida. Well, like Jacksonville, Managa. You're talking about my ancestors, Managa, and you want to talk about escaped slaves from Georgia, talking about Africans, Managa. You're talking about Africans escaping from slavery in Georgia, running to Florida with the Indians, running with the Seminoles. They weren't Africans, they was Gwale. We just read it here. Checkmate once again. Checkmate again, clown. The Gwale, originally living along the central Georgia coast. the survivors of the race. What kind of race? Slave race. Where in Africa? No, in Georgia. By who? By the English colonizers and their Indian allies. And they moved from Georgia into Florida. And then what happened later in the Seminole War? They come down there from Georgia talking about we want our slaves back. Talking about you from Africa. You ain't dumb, is you? Yeah, we just read all about the Guale in Florida, the black Guale, right? Read all about it in Jacksonville. The enslaved Guale people. As soon as they started talking about Mandarin in Jacksonville, Florida, the first thing they mentioned was enslaved Guale. And if they was enslaved, you know they looked like this. They was nappy-headed Nagas, the real Indian, the real American Indian, falsely labeled African American. Never been to Africa, ancestors ain't from Africa whatsoever. The Most High put them in America from day one. Said let there be darkness, he put the Naga in America, fool.
You big dummy. Now who's you, nigga?
Nobody said Guale, my nigga.
Another motherfucking word and this shit is over. And I
Take
ain't
it
playing,
deeper.
nigga.
All these fake Native Americans, all these pretendians and $5 Indians, red man, redneck, Eurasians, coming up in here talking about you was a slave. That's the only reason you could talk about you was an Indian. You was a slave. Yeah. History of slavery in Florida. Who was they enslaving? Indigenous Floridians like the Guale. Slavery in Florida is more central to Florida's history than it is to almost any other state. Salute.
You big dummy.
See, this is personal. You know, because when we got fakers like Tim Ass Una coming up in the chat, all sniffing the tried nuts, say, yeah, I get angry, yeah, I get mad, you know, but I'm a cooler cat than that, you know, cool heads prevail. Sometimes, you know, this get personal, Managa. This is very personal. When you trying to rob somebody's identity and their ancestors died and was brutalized through this, you know, you can lose your scalp, Managa, just straight up. We talking real history, this ain't nothing fake. Slavery in Florida is more central to Florida's history than in almost any other state. Florida's purchased by the United States from Spain in 1819, effective 1821, was primarily a measure to strengthen the system of slavery on southern plantations by denying potential runaways to formerly safe haven of Florida. Who was running away? Then we just read in Monaga. Who was running away to Florida from Georgia to the safe haven? Who was it? The Guale, originally living along the central Georgia coast, the survivors of the raids by English colonists and their Indian allies, moved from Georgia into Florida. Let's checkmate, read it again. Slavery in Florida, central than almost any other state. Florida was purchased by the U.S. and Spain 1819, primarily measured to strengthen slavery on southern plantations by denying potential runaways to formerly safe haven. Oh, it used to be safe in Florida. They used to get just run from Georgia to Florida. These Guale Indians can get back with the Seminoles and get back to their tribes, and they can war with us and cause problems. Right? Now they want to tell you few enslaved Africans. Yep, few. Hardly any at all. Few enslaved Africans were imported into Florida from Cuba. Only, they say few. I argue none at all. Zero. Why would you import an African slave when you got all these Nagas running around, you big liar? You got all these Guale Nagas running around. You ain't import no African. You imported the African name on paper, bitch. You ain't fooling nobody.
You big dummy.
You reading right through your hijacked lies. It's a new day. We tribing up and we waking up. By denying potential runaways to formerly safe haven of Florida. Denying runaways, denying the Guale, the safe haven of Florida, originally living along the central coast of Georgia, surviving raids by English colonizers, and they moved from Georgia to Florida. Really, Monaga? Yeah. Few enslaved Africans, blah, 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 yeah, we know. As there was little for them to do. No mines, no plantations, yeah. Few enslaved Africans, they ain't got nothing for them to do. Starting in 1687, slaves escaping from English colonies to the north were freed when they reached Florida and accepted Catholic baptism. black slavery in the region was widely established after Florida came under British then American control. Slavery in Florida was theoretically abolished by the 1863 Emancipation Proclamation issued by President Lincoln, though as the state was then part of the Confederacy, this had little immediate effect. Slavery in Florida did not end abruptly on one specific day, as news arrived of the end of the Civil War and the collapse of the Confederacy in the spring of 1865. Slavery unofficially ended and there were no more slave catchers or other authority to enforce the peculiar institution. Slave catchers? What was that? In Florida? They wasn't in Africa.
You big dummy.
Biatch.
They can't help but tell on themselves. They can't help but tell on. You cannot tell the history without telling on yourself. Slave catchers, all up in Florida, right? Call them African Americans. Yeah, okay. Slavery before the arrival of European, whatever. First Spanish occupation. In 1528, a slave named Stavanico. He going, hey, all my Pan-African knockers, where y'all at? This they boy right here at Stavanico. Little Stephen was brought to the area as part of the Narvaez expedition, which he continued on to Texas. More African slaves arrived in Florida in 1539 with Hernando de Soto. Why these people such liars, man? These people lie. This is all lies right here. Yeah, I ain't finna read all this hijack. That where the hijack jumped in. Now, let's skip through the hijack, y'all. British Florida, second Spanish occupation. The former slaves also found refuge among the Creek and the Seminoles. There we go. How can the African find a creek in the Seminole? I think if an African broke free out the plantation, the white man to find his ass before he find a creek or an Indian. Right, salute. And then think about it. Think about the fake Seminoles and Cherokees today who racist as hell talking about we had you blacks as slaves. You really think that they was gonna help an escaped slave?
You big dummy.
Open your eyes, my nigga. Don't go for no third eye trick. These fake ass Cherokees, the fake Seminoles, the fake, all the fake white Indians, they talking about, yeah, you blackies, you darkies were slaves. So, if that's the case, if the white Cherokee and all these white Indians talking about the blacks on the rolls, y'all were slaves. If that's the case, if they don't like you like that, then if that was true, why would African slaves escape and find Creek and Seminoles? Make it make sense, Managa.
You big dummy.
It don't make sense because they are lying. The real Creek and Seminole is you, Managa. And the people that was escaping wasn't Africans, Managa. They were Gwale and other Creek and Seminole Indians, Managa. Other Nagas, other nappy-headed Nagas. Escaping and getting back to their tribe. They know how to get there very easily. They get back to the tribe before the white man can get to them. Salute.
You big dummy.
It all makes sense. When real recognizing real, it all making sense. Talking this Africa stuff, man. Stop it, man. Treatment of blacks under Spanish rule. Under the Spanish, enslaved workers had rights. Who? The Gwale? Zephaniah Kingsley. I'm going to do one on Zephaniah Kingsley. That's right here in Jacksonville. The Kingsley Plantation. I've been out there. I got video footage of it. And I'm going to show y'all some stuff. They talking about it was a slave plantation. I beg to argue that it was an Indian village, not a slave plantation. And they just simply moved their little colonization people amongst our own villages. That's all they did and said, oh yeah, we own this is ours now. You Negroes got farms, y'all got oranges and stuff growing these our farms now. We season y'all dukedoms and chiefdoms, doing diversions, and we season y'all too. We taking the land and y'all already working the land, growing the cotton, tobacco, and the oranges and the sugar. You know what? We own the land and we own y'all. Y'all our slaves. Now you know what? This Kingsley, we gonna call this the Kingsley Plantation now. I'm gonna do one on that. I'm gonna show y'all something. Territorial Florida under American rule, 1821 to 1845. Now we looking at the Naga. Look at the Naga. Hold on. They just pulled the Naga. The Naga up. Look, black Seminoles. Look, they pulled the Naga up. Look. They can't separate the Indian and the Naga.
You big dummy.
The same people. Territorial Florida under American rule, 1821 to 1845. Florida became an organized territory of the United States on February 22nd, 1821. See the Adams-Onis Treaty. Look at that, right away, slavery. As soon as you say, okay, you say Florida became a state, 1821, right away, slavery. What we gonna do with these native Nagas? We own the land now and the Nagas own it. Slavery continued to be permitted. However, Spanish racial policies were replaced with a rigid set of laws that assumed that all black persons, slave or free, see, free black person in Florida in 1821, if they wasn't a slave and you ain't bring them from nowhere, how did they get there? Salute.
You big
They
dummy.
was already there, Managa. And they called you uncivilized. Slave or free, they were uncivilized and inferior to whites and suitable only for slavery. Salute.
You big dummy.
They say, yeah, these Nagas here on this land, we done conquered Florida, it's ours now. Yeah, them slaves. The free black Indian slaves, huh? Not black and Indian. See, you can't separate the free black from the Indian because it's the same damn person.
You big dummy.
Where all the fake Cherokee pretendians, white Eurasian pretendians, and the fake other tribe pretendians talking about, yeah, we had you Nagas as slaves. Where y'all at now? The free black Indian slaves, huh? Where y'all at now, fake pretendians? Tim Ass on the way you at? Black Seminoles living near St. Augustine fled to Havana, Cuba. So how they knew how to get all the way to Havana, Cuba? They was from Africa. To avoid coming under U.S. control, some Seminoles also abandoned their settlements and moved further south. Hundreds of these Nagas, black Nagas, hundreds of black Seminoles, hundreds of Seminoles, and fugitive slaves, huh? Who, the Guales? Escaped in the early 19th century from Cape Florida to the Bahamas, where they settled on Andros Island. Salute, my Naga, we just did one about all the Nagas in Andros Island. You Guale Naga, you Seminole Naga, you all down there in the Andros Island calling yourself an Afro-Bahamian and all this here. Fool, you an American Indian. Fool, you indigenous to American. Fool, they done fooled you again, fool. You ain't no Afro nothing, fool. You ain't got an Afro. That's a cookie bush, fool. Salute.
You big dummy.
Andros Island. All them Seminoles down there in Andros. Seminoles and Guales, fugitive black slaves. They had to run all the way to the Bahamas. And they said, you know what? Let's just go on and start a city right here. They settled on and made Andros Islands. Found in Nicholstown, South SC, named for the Anglo-Irish commander and abolitionists who fostered their escape, Edward Nichols. So Edward Nichols helped them. Free people of color in their perceived danger. Who? Not Africans. Who? American Indians, huh? Salute. That's the only way you're gonna be a free person of color is if you're American Indian, Managa. That's the only way you're gonna be a slave is you an American Indian, Managa. Let's cut this Africa nonsense out. Stop lying. In 1827, free Negroes, who? Free ones, were prohibited. They say we don't want them here from coming in Florida. And in 1828, those that were already there, oh, we don't want them here, but they already there.
You big dummy.
What's going on here? Where they come from? The ones that were already there were prohibited from assembling in public. They say, you Nagas already here. We better not see y'all get in no big crowd in public. What they do now at the club? They come disperse y'all Nagas. They say, you Nagas dangerous. They say, we don't want to see no big crowd of Nagas in public whatsoever. In 1829, a statute required a fine of $200, equivalent to $5,089 in 2021. So what is about $8,000 now? For every person manumitted or set free, and required the person freed to leave the territory with 30 days. But you gotta pay, Naga, you gotta pay all this money, Naga, and you gotta get the hell on. Salute. That's what they told you Nagas in Florida. A lot of Nagas said, hell no, we fighting. In antebellum Florida, Southerners came to believe that the only successful means of removing the threat of free Nagas was to expel them from the southern states or to change their status, huh? Change their status, huh? Like they title, start calling them African Americans, changing their status, huh? From free persons to slaves, huh? You ain't no American Indian no more. You ain't no Guale no more, Naga. You an African American slave, fool.
You big dummy.
Let that sink in, my Naga. They say they gonna change your status, my Naga. From a free person to now you a slave. We own your land and you. Free Negroes are perceived as an evil of no ordinary magnitude, undermining the system of slavery. Slaves had to be shown that there was no advantage in being free. Thus, free Negroes became victims of the slaveholders' fears. Legislation became more forceful. The free Negro had to accept his new role or leave the state. He had to leave his homeland where they found him at. As in fact, half the black population of Pensacola and St. Augustine, just tell them, Florida, immediately did. They left the country. They left Florida. Some citizens of Leon County, Florida, Florida's most populous and wealthiest county, which wealth was because Leon County had more slaves, they had more Nagas than any other county in Florida, petitioned the General Assembly to have all free Nagas removed from the state. They say these Nagas dangerous. They said we got all these Nagas, we done enslaved these Guales we got out here enslaved. We can have all these free Seminoles running around. They said it'd be war. Legislation passed in 1847. Key word, my Naga. Legislation was passed in 1847, not even 200 years ago, about 174, 73, 4 or 5 years ago. Legislation was passed in 1847, right? That required all the free Negro Indians, the Guale, all you free Negroes, to have a white person as your legal guardian. How you got enslaved, Managa? They got you out of Africa, Managa? Nope.
You big
Where they got you from? Right out of Florida, Managa. Snoop, the apple ain't fall far from the tree. You been a Floridian. You are the real Floridian, Managa. Legislation passed in 1847, y'all. Write it down, check, mark it, underline it. Required that all you free Nagas, all you Seminole Indians, all you Guale Indians, all you Nagas, all you stronghold of the Nagas, all you copper-colored Nagas, all you colored people, all you copper-colored Indians, all you American Indians, all you Aboriginal Americans, all you Tamaricans, all you blacks, to have a white person as your legal guardian. We're talking real history, y'all. We ain't playing games over here, y'all. We do not play. And we can go on for years with this. Yeah, they say they passed legislation. They say you got to get you a white daddy. You need you a white zaddy now. In 1855, an act was passed which prevented free Negroes from entering the state of Florida. In 1861, 4 years before so-called slavery ended, right? An act was passed requiring all free Negroes in Florida to register with the judge of probate, whose county they resided. The Negro, when registering, had to give his name, age, color, sex, and occupation. They had to pay $1 to register. Now, I want to pull up that registry now. I'm going to dig on that. All Negroes over 12 years old had to have a guardian approved by the probate judge. The guardian could be sued for any crime committed by the Negro. The Negro could not be sued under the new law. Now, see, the Negro couldn't be sued because he on his indigenous land. They gave him a white guardian like he's some kind of animal, Managa. Under the new law, any free Negro or mulatto who did not register with the nearest probate judge was classified as a slave. If you ain't gonna get you a white zaddy, you automatically got classified as a slave, Managa. Real history. You got automatically classified as a slave and became the lawful property of any white person who claimed possession of you, Managa. They ain't snatch you out of Africa, Managa.
You big dummy.
They ain't get you out of Zimbabwe, Managa.
You big dummy.
They ain't get you out of Gambia, Managa.
You big
They got
dummy.
you out here out of Florida, Georgia, Managa,
You
Texas,
big dummy.
Managa, Alabama,
You
Managa,
big dummy.
Cleveland, Managa,
You
New
big
York,
dummy.
Managa, California,
You big
Managa,
dummy.
South America,
You
Managa,
big dummy.
Caribbean Islands,
You
Managa,
big
Canada,
dummy.
Managa,
You big
Alaska,
dummy.
Managa. They got you from right here. And we gonna continue to, I don't care if it take 5 years, I will keep driving this home with new content every time because it exists. And if you don't know where it's at, I will show you. I will show you. Any white person could take possession of you. Any white person can claim you. If you don't sign up for your white Zad, you automatically classified as slave. And any white man whatsoever
Now who sent you, nigga?
make you his slave. Florida, a slave state, 1845 to 1861. And y'all got the nerve to let these people play with y'all and call y'all African Americans. You got the nerve to doubt what I'm saying. You got the nerve to doubt the artifacts. You got the nerve to give the colonizers the benefit of the doubt before you give it to me. Florida, a slave state, 1845 to 1861. American settlers began to establish cotton plantations in northern Florida, which required numerous laborers, which they supplied by buying slaves in the domestic market. On March 3rd, 1845, Florida became a slave state of the United States. Almost half the state's population was enslaved. Lying. They're not African Americans. You call them that. You pay for genocide of them. These were Guale Indians. These was American Indians. We just read it. Working on large cotton and sugar plantations between the Apalachicola and Suwannee River in the north central part of the state. Like the people who owned them, many slaves had come from the coastal areas of Georgia. Coastal areas of Georgia. Coastal areas of Georgia. We just read that. What we just saw that at, y'all? The Guale originally living along the central Georgia coast. The survivors of slave raids by English colonizers. And their Indian allies moved from Georgia into Florida. We just connecting dots. They keep giving it to us. Yeah. Many slaves had come from the coastal areas of Georgia. You call them African American. Now you ought to be ashamed yourself, Google, you fucking liars. They were part of the Guale. The Gula, right? The Guale. They call them Gula. We know it's the Guale. We just saw that it was the Guale. It just told us right here it's the Guale. You tried to change their name, right? You changed their status. You reclassified them, right? You call them African American. You say y'all ain't Guale no more from the Georgia coast. Y'all Gula now. Y'all from Africa. Yeah, but y'all came from the Georgia coast though. Connect the dots, my nigga. Don't be stupid. Don't be stupid, my nigga.
You big dummy.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, this real history just out here, man. They telling you, they showing you the statues, dates, times, tribes. They turn around telling you Africa.
You big dummy.
You gotta be dumb. If you can't see through the hijack at this point, my nigga, I don't know what to tell you, my nigga. Blackjack gonna lead you in the right direction. Hey, go on over there to the stronghold of the Nagas, you know what I'm saying? Go there for strictlyformanagas.com. Go get you some of this fresh apparel we got online. Like this Indian shirt I got on that's showing the real Cleveland Indian mascot, the Naga hemp, you know what I'm saying? For about like 1925 or something. Go get you some of that real gear, my Naga. Support the channel, my Naga. Support the truth. We doing it for y'all and only y'all. Stronghold of Managa. Everybody else can eat a fat one. I ain't talking to everybody else. I don't care what they think. Their opinion is irrelevant. What a $5 faker think is irrelevant.
Sit your $5 ass down before I make change.
Is irrelevant. What a European white man think is irrelevant to me. Only thing that matters is what my Nagas think. Salute. That's the only thing. I do it strictly for my Nagas. Support the show, my Naga. I do it for you. I ain't kissing nobody else's ass for support. I'm doing this for my Nagas. So my Nagas, I need y'all support. We want this shit to blossom and this thing to keep popping. I can keep bringing it day after day, my Naga. New material for you. City after city, place after place. It's all the stronghold of the Naga. I'm undefeated. We undefeated, my Naga. I know this. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no shadow of a doubt. We ain't the Floyd Mayweather reading, but we damn sure is the Floyd Mayweather warring with them. We whooping their ass undefeated. So it is what it is. Y'all want to keep coming, y'all support the channel, Managa Tribe Bucks. Salute to the members. Salute to Teaching 777. Salute. Salute to Jackie Salam. Salute. We tried up. We're 3 deep so far. You know, we got Blackjack, Jackie Salam, Teaching 777 in the tribe. You know what I'm saying? We're a 3 deep tribe. We'll whoop y'all ass if y'all want that fake shit. You know what I'm saying? We need some more fellas. We need fellas. I can't be the only fella in the tribe. Fellas, what's up? Tribe up with me. You know what I'm saying? Tribe up with your boy. Get that membership starting as low as $2.99 a month, my Naga. And it's going to give you access to the members only live stream. Like the Soul of Naga Charlie Part 3. That's going to air tonight at 9:30. Members only. Hey, you need to get there, my Naga. Salute to the tribe, y'all. We out. Peace.
It comes as a great shock to discover that Gary Cooper killing off the Indians when you were rooting for Gary Cooper, that the Indians were you.
You's a real Naga, throw a feather up. Tribe up, my Naga, put your bows and arrows up. The stronghold of the Naga ain't scared of us. They try to dumb my Naga down, but we leveled up. Yeah. Strictly for my Nagas.
Africa. I remember when they were marching, people started screaming in the suburbs, back to Africa with them. Back to Africa with who? Shit, I ain't never been to Africa. Don't send me home, send me to St. Louis, Missouri. 4461 in right, top floor. Africa, what the hell I look like standing in the jungle with a $750 mohair suit and some alligator shoes. That's not hunting garb. I'm here all the way.